cosmic comets collide, no surprise. Solar flares, sear scorching seas. Frenzy fires flare, feeling trees. Volcanoes vomit violent streams. Magma murders mountains, melting dreams. Tectonic terrors tear terror apart. Crushing cities, crumbling hearts. Prepare, prepare for the fiery end. Stop the shelter, strength to send. Bunkers built will boldly stand. Ready for ruin, resilient band. Plagues proliferate, pestilence prevails. Bioengineered bugs burst, bodies frail. Nuclear nightmares, nations nuke. Missiles mirage, no mercy rebuke. Prepare, prepare for the fiery end. Stop the shelter, strength to send. Bunkers built will boldly stand. Ready for ruin, resilient band. Aliens, armadas aim atomic arrays. Invading, igniting Earth's final days. Quantum quirks quake, quarks combust. Ripping reality, reducing to dust. Far-fetched fears like zombie floods. Ghoulish gangs guzzling gory blood. Liquid losses loom like climate's curse. Warming world withers, we're the worst. AI awakens, algorithms attack. Synthetic scourge, sentient stacked. Economic empires erode, expire. Markets melt, money's pyre. Prepare, prepare for the fiery end. Stop the shelter, strength to send. Bunkers built will boldly stand. Ready for ruin, resilient band. From cosmic crashes to cascading chaos. Doom strongly drives, no time to pause. Yet prepped will persist, proud and wise. Surviving the blaze beneath burning skies.
There is nothing more metal than playing metal in a wildfire.
Yeah.
Praxis, you outdid yourself again, man. Nice
that was
job.
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I
can say that without patting my own back because AI did most of the heavy lifting on that one, obviously.
Were you singing?
No, I can't sing. I can't even play a triangle.
I think you set the bar for intros now for prepping.
It was awesome. It was really, really good. Thank you for doing that.
No, it's my pleasure. I love doing that stuff.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Friday Night Prepper pre-party show. I'm going to move fast here through the intro because a couple of our guests, we're on borrowed time, so I want to be respectful to that. So you guys know the rules if you've been here before. If you haven't, no racism, no sexism. Be kind to the guests and the moderators. My moderators have full permission to punish people, including whips, chains, and riding crops. So please behave yourselves. If you have a question, please put it in all caps. I will do my best to catch that. And other than that, let's go ahead and get going. I want to say thank you to my guests. We've got the order that I'm seeing them here. Cliff, the Urban Prepper. We got Praxis, Homesteading and Survival. We've got Mike from Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. I've got Morgan from Rogue Preparedness. And first time on my channel, Jason, the Angry Prepper. How are you guys doing tonight?
Fantastic, man. Yeah, thank you.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and I have a little icebreaker to get us started here. So I asked my audience last week to basically, I gave them three choices of how you guys might die in the apocalypse, and they voted on it. And so just to give an example I asked them to say how I would die, and the three choices I gave them was eating the wrong plant while foraging, got killed trying to help somebody, or nicked an artery by sharpening my knives. And overwhelmingly, my audience picked that I would probably get killed helping somebody, which I think is probably accurate.
Oh.
So that means that the choices they picked for you is probably also how you're going to die. Okay.
Right.
All right, Morgan. I'm gonna tell you what the three were, and then I want you to guess which one the audience picked for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Top 3 ways that Morgan might die in the apocalypse. Number 1, suffocated while accidentally sealing herself in a giant Mylar bag. Number 2, ate expired food from a homemade MRE. Number 3, killed in her bunker when her dehydrator overheated and caught fire.
Ouch. Who'd say the Mylar bag one?
No, the audience said that you were going to die when your dehydrator gets overheated.
Oh, well, that makes sense too. Can't stop, won't stop.
All right, Cliff. I gave my audience 3 choices, and I was telling Cliff backstage, I thought of a 4th one, which I should have included, which would have been killed by mom.
Yeah,
but
that's actually how it's going to happen.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the 3 choices that I gave them was, number 1, forgot to change the oil filter on his gas mask. Forgot to change the filter on his gas mask.
Yeah.
Number 2, accidentally crushed while sorting through his color-coded bins. Number 3, got murked for the contents in his Altoids tin.
Man. Geez, I kind of like that for the color coded crushed by that. I think that's
what the audience picked for you. You were going to get crushed in an
nice.
Avalanche from your color coded gear bins.
Nice. So you got to go. That's okay. Go in color.
All right, Praxis. I gave my audience 3 choices. The 3 choices were tripped over your recording equipment and cracking your head open. Number 2, solar panel fell off the top of your roof and crushed you. Number 3, eaten by your chickens because the feed got too low.
Well, you know what? All 3 of those things have actually happened to one degree or another. So, what's the most fun one? Probably the chickens. That'd be make a nice music video anyway.
Yeah, you were going to become chicken feed. That's what the audience picked for you. All right, Mike, you're up.
Oh boy.
Number 1, murked by the Livingston man for the last pack of smokes. Number 2, cut down when your AI drone went rogue on you. Number 3, drank impure water because you forgot to change the filter in your grill filter.
Ooh, I'm gonna say the AI drone.
That's what the audience picked for you. Your AI drone goes rogue on.
No, the drone's gonna get me 100%.
All right, last one, Angry Prepper. I gave my audience 3 choices for you. Number 1 was passes out while ranting about how people should have listened to him. Number 2, slips on something while practicing Krav Maga in your bunker. Or number 3, gets ambushed because you chased somebody who tried to trade spam with you. Oh,
the third one.
That's what it was. They said you were going to get ambushed because somebody tried to trade spam with you and you chased them down.
Gonna hunt those people down.
That's right.
Dare you.
So were you backstage, Angry Prepper, when we asked, people were asking why do they call you the Angry Prepper?
I probably was. Why did they call me the Angry Prepper?
Yes.
Because the Black Prepper was too obvious. The Chocolate Prepper was too on the nose. So I figured, and they called me angry at work. So
Okay.
allowed me to drive the fire truck. So I went with the Angry Prepper.
All right, appreciate that. All right, so what I was going to do tonight basically is I just want to know what you guys, because we all do different styles in the content that we put out. There's definitely some similarities in some areas and some crossover, but I think we cover some different topics and we do it a little bit differently. I'm curious what you all are talking to your audience about for the rest of 2025. What do you think they need to be preparing for? And I'm going to start with Cliff, and then I'm going to go to Morgan next. You guys feel free to jump in on this however you want. But I know Cliff and Morgan, we've only got for a little bit of time. So let's start with Cliff.
Sure. Well, yeah. Again, thanks for having me on. This is a lot of fun, and again, that intro was awesome. Really, for my audience at least, I focus a lot on organization and kits and EDC, and try to do family friendly, practical preparedness type things. And I find that I try not to do too much seasonal kind of prepping, like, hey, and this year this is what we have to do, and then this year this is what we have to do. For me, it's just because I'm kind of doing this is I'm just documenting my own personal journey, and if it resonates with people, that's cool. So like right now, for example, we like tomorrow I'm having a video tomorrow. We had a bad problem with pest control, that good pest that came out where we had a bunch of flies and spiders and ants and stuff like that. So I've been working on various pest preps. But if we're talking just overall for the year, I think the basics, food and water, is the most important things. Like everything else is like, if you're prepping for zombies, or if you're prepping for the apocalypse, or you're prepping for economic collapse or anything like that, I find that it's usually common stuff that you're going to prep anyway. So that's why I don't really adjust things too much year after year. And I just kind of try to stay with where the gaps are in my own personal preparedness planning. And then I try to fill those gaps, document it, make a PDF document, and then share it with YouTube. And then I get ideas, refine it, and then go from there. But that's kind of what I'm working on.
Do you think that's an area where we preppers tend to slack off? Is our organizational stuff?
Well, I don't know. I think everyone does. Like, well, I'm not organized with everything. Like my wife wants to out me on YouTube and show my my dresser drawer and my closet and my office because it's a complete mess. But with preps, I feel like in an emergency situation, when if there's an actual emergency, I want to be able to move fast and grab exactly what I need. And so I want my preps to be organized. I don't really care if my underwear drawers are organized. So, but I think overall, prepping is such there's kind of a fine line between prepping and hoarding. And if you let it get too out of control, it's going to be hard to find stuff when you really need it, especially when time is of the essence. So I think it's important for not just preppers, but everyone in general.
What do you all think about that? Is organization something you struggle with your preps?
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
And I think it's probably the number one thing that people complain about is organization. Like, in the comments, and they're like, I'm not organized, but it's hard.
I sometimes find that, like, I'll put reminders in my phone of like, okay, time to rotate the batteries in my get home bag and stuff like that, right? And then what I end up doing is like, I'm too busy today, so I'll like bump it a week, and I'll bump it a week, and I'll bump it a week, and then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, those batteries are probably corroded bad now,
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm really guilty of.
Mm-hmm.
Timely stuff's difficult for me. Also, the things you have to recurrently do, like the batteries, like you say. Anytime that you can kind of systematize that's something that I'm always trying to do. Like with pantry, that's like the obvious kind of example where you put the new stuff in the back so that you can't help it be organized. But yeah, it's difficult for a lot of things, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Morgan, what do you want your audience to prepare for the rest of 2025? Like, what's on your mind? What's on your radar?
I'm generally kind of along the same line as Cliff, not organizational wise. I won't be on his level ever. But like, I'm trying to steer people into more of a like self-reliance, mindset. So it's like, when you first start with prepping, it's like, I'm just going to get, some food and water and stuff like that. Well, I'm trying to steer people into less of just kind of being prepared for basic stuff, and let's try to be a little more self-reliant. Finding our community, finding those local people that we can rely on, the local farms, all these things. So just trying to take a little more self-reliance into your hand no matter where you are. So that's my goal.
I like that you mentioned connecting with the local resources and the farms. I think that's another area sometimes where the prepping community, we all have this like solo mindset, right? It's kind of built into the fantasy of, last prepper standing kind of thing. And but really, if something really big went down, it would be really hard without having some mutual support, right?
Yeah. And it's usually that support is not going to come from, 50 miles away, 100 miles away, whatever, it's going to come like, maybe a 10-mile, but usually your neighborhood or like, like the closest people to you, your vicinity of people, it's not usually going to come from far away. So you should probably get to know that local stuff.
What are the
For you
rest
guys
of
that
you
live in the city, is that how is that for you guys? Because for myself, I live out in the sticks, and I've got a bunch of farmer neighbors, and I try to keep good relations, and it's manageable to wrap my mind around that, like connecting with my neighbors, because I've got like 6 of them. But like in the city, you got so many people around you. So I'm just curious how you navigate that way. It's almost like you have an overabundance of options to some degree.
It kind of all just starts with hello. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like, especially with neighbors, I've lived in the boonies. I've lived literally so far away from people where my nearest neighbor was a mile, close. The closest to us was a mile away. And then, now in an urban setting, it's like, they're butt up against, and it's just like, well, that's, if you want to get to know your neighbors, you want to get to know your community, you got to get out there and just say hi. As far as the farms and stuff go, I just go to the internets and I search local farms, and then I find them, or I'll go to a local farmer's market or something and find them. And there you go. There's actually tons of farms everywhere. Even when I was in Alaska, there's tons. They're everywhere. Just gotta find them.
Yeah.
I think people are people, and it's all about making connections, whether you connect really close to each other or far away. Usually you can find something that you're kind of aligned on or adjacent on in certain terms of thought process. I work in the city, and I'm in the city for the majority of each day, but then we live more in the suburbs now. The more kids you have, the farther away from the city you have to live to be able to afford it. But we found that with neighbors, like we try to make friends with all of our neighbors, because when most emergencies, I think, that are probably would happen are probably going to be regional, but it's not before like some big grandiose all the whole world type thing. So I think it's good to know your neighbors and make friends with them. And like when we first moved into our home, I just immediately started buttering up all of my neighbors that are immediately around me. So started bringing them bottles of booze or wine or whatever I thought that their interest was. We have this old lady, and she makes fruit pie, so I started bringing her fruit just to be on the good side. So then when stuff went down, like we've had stuff happen regionally within the neighborhood, like we've even had active shooter type things, and those connections mattered at that point, where that you're no longer just that house number, you're an actual person with a name, and they know you, and you've done stuff for them. And so it's just, I think, all in all, just building connections, whether you're in the city or in the country or in the suburbs. I think the same approach that you could apply.
Yeah. Angry Prepper, are you still in the city? I know at one point you were talking about moving out of the city. Are you still in New York?
Yeah, it's I have another. It's either 2 years or 5.
Okay. How's the situation there in terms of like dealing with neighbors, and because that's definitely more crowded than what I'm in the city too, but I'm in Charleston, so it's a little bit different. What I consider city and what you consider city are very different. What's it like trying to make those connections there?
Oh, I don't make those connections. I don't.
You don't?
Yeah. I'm not sure how this channel takes certain wording, but for the most part, fuck these people.
You're okay, but is it just like nobody else is like got the right mindset for it, or what's?
You know what? I think there's too much. People are too dependent on certain systems. So trying to get a lot of people to break that trend or that mindset is incredibly hard. And a lot of people are here in the city are prepared to take. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good folks here as well, but it's too hard at this point to navigate who is good and who's not. So I'd rather just concentrate on myself, the family, and then getting out of here if things get too hot.
Yeah.
I feel like New York is like a whole different beast of a city.
Yeah.
It definitely is. I mean, for example, in the last, I'm going to say 2 years now that I've been uptown in Washington Heights, it's gotten dramatically bad as far as homeless people. Crime has been leveling off, but homeless people and psych patients have been through the roof. I've never seen anything like this in the last 2 years that I've seen over like the last 47 years of being in the city. The city just thinks that psych patients should be able to live a normal life, and that is just not the case. Unfortunately, you know, not trying to bring politics into this, politics destroyed the city because these liberal psych doctors out here are like, they should have the same life as everyone, and they can't. These people are on medications. They're constantly going off their meds because they forget to take it a day or so. They'll have an episode that overrides their medication that they were constantly taking. So, yeah, it's just incredibly bad here.
Yeah, I can confirm that that's in the South too, man. We, you know, I'm in probably about as of a conservative area as you're going to find in the country, and I work in mental health, and there's just this push to not keep people in the hospital, and I'm not for like long-term hospitalization for people if they don't need it, but there are some people who do need it, and unfortunately that's, you know, it becomes this revolving door, much like the jails, unfortunately, where somebody who's really having a hard time staying stable in the community because they're not taking their medications, or like you said, sometimes something is overriding the medications or whatever, and end up getting real sick and they can cause a lot of problems, and unfortunately in some cases they can get dangerous too, and so that's a problem here too. It's just a big push in the country to, you know, and it's going to get worse, I can tell you that too, because there's funding being cut from programs that would have done some long-term stabilization services, that those are just going to continue to get cut. So you can expect it's going to get worse, I can tell you that now.
Are you seeing it all across the area that you're in, Jason? Or because I know in Seattle, for example, there's certain sections where it's like the heavy fentanyl user section where basically you have zombies roaming around and dropping deuces on the road and stuff like that. So, like, is it more sectional or is it just all over the place?
It's actually, you know what, I was thinking it was a sectional thing. So I live in Washington Heights, right? It's right by the George Washington Bridge. And I thought it was just the area that I was in. But when I started, you know, traveling through the city for like certain gigs or just going downtown to do photo shoots, I would see more crazy people. And not just, you know, not like, you know, ripping their pants off and shaking their dicks kind of crazy. But like, you know, talking to themselves.
Not that kind of crazy.
You know, you know, talking to themselves in a corner or giving themselves a haircut with a lighter. But you know, they try to stay to themselves, but they're still doing shit that disrupts everybody else's, I guess, well-being or safety around them. But it's just getting bad, and I don't know if it's the services that are cut that PreppingForSHTF was talking about. I'm not sure if it's that or there's other shit at play. I think there's other shit at play. I think, me personally, I think the arm ticket played a giant role in these psych issues with people, because I've never seen this decline so fast in the city. And again, I've been here 47 years. There was actually a short period back in the 90s, mid 90s to late 90s. People who are on welfare were signing up for psychological medications so that they can get more money in their on their welfare cards. And at some point, people were just getting prescribed these meds and not taking them, but then the welfare office caught on and started testing people for medications, and these people thought that taking half a pill or spacing it out was going to help, when in fact that made matters worse for a lot of people. So that was the late 90s, and I'm wondering if some of these kids are byproduct of that medication that wasn't needed.
I could say that from my end of things, it's a complicated issue. We could probably do 2 hours just talking about, you know, medications and complications with that. But one of the things I can confirm that's very, very problematic is when you were kind of starting to talk about there, sometimes people start medications, then stop them, and then they're like, well, I can't afford them, so I'm going to take one every other day, and things like that. And some of these things, not only will they not work correctly, but you can actually make the mental health issue worse if you're not taking it correctly. That's especially true for a certain type of medication that I tried to talk about on my mental health stream, and YouTube killed it. So I'm not going to take us too far down that rabbit hole, but I actually had a stream shut down because I was trying to talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I could definitely see why F those people is the approach for Jason's
Yeah.
case for sure.
Well, we can go to you next, Jason. What are you talking to your audience about?
Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty much just following what's going on. I mean, my main focus, like on the Angry Truth channel, is the manipulation event that we went through, you know, a couple of years ago, the Mr. 19 event, and then the arm ticket. And I'm not starting to shift gear, but I'm also talking about AI, and AI is becoming increasingly bad. So I did a video, I released it this morning, I think, on the Angry Truth channel. If you look at the first minute of that video, that video looked incredibly real, you know, and they're trying to nail the nuances of human interaction and expression, and they're almost there. They're also off with the lighting. The lighting's a little too much, so it makes the skin look fake. But they're almost there. They're like an atom away from figuring it out, and then the manipulation game begins. Once they can nail that, I don't think there's not a government in the world that won't use AI to manipulate their people.
So I saw it was during one of the recent tornadoes. It was a video that was made by AI to show the destruction of a tornado. It was like 10 times worse than it was. I mean, it was bad, but like somebody made a video from AI to show destruction of the tornado to like just amp it up and whatever. And so people found out, oh, this is AI. But I mean, like you look at it and you're like, I don't know who found this out, because like it's so real. Like there's just like, you know, it's scary. It's really scary to think about.
Well, that is the bigger problem, is that, so just imagine that we were absolutely lied to during the whole Mr. 19 event, right? And that was just by way of media telling us that, you know, we were going to experience this, we were going to experience that, things were going to get really bad, and then they did. Now they're turning around and saying that a lot of the things that we put in place never actually worked, right? The things on your face, the standing certain distance from each other, all of that was supposedly supposed to cut down on it, and never did. And they found out that, you know, it was in fact, none of it was true. And in fact, the 6 feet apart was just thrown in there just to, you know, I guess just for extra precaution. Again, that never really worked. And now we were easily manipulated just by the word of the media. Now imagine visually lying to people and telling people, yeah, that's Donald Trump, you know, dancing with a stripper, you know, and people, and the thing is, I invite you guys, when you see fake videos, look at the comment section. Look at how many people believe it, right? And that's just a small group of people who are watching it on their social media stream. Never mind if it gets into mass media and we start getting lied to on that level. It's going to be absolutely a nightmare trying to decipher what's real and what's not.
It's going to cut both ways too. We're kind of referencing the idea that these videos can be made in a way where they will generate belief in something that's artificial, but the general knowledge that that stuff is out there is going to undermine anything real, and to some degree thinking people won't be able to believe anything. So I mean, it'll generate belief in things that are fake, but it also make people not believe things that actually are real, because you can't trust anything at that point.
No, that's got to be the goal.
Yeah, it's gonna. Whether it's a goal or it's a side effect, it's definitely coming.
Well, I mean, I saw another video. It was not AI. It was 2 actors, if I'm not mistaken, and it's the one where a cop pulls over a judge, right? And so right away, I'm looking at the video, I'm sort of believing it. I'm looking at the screen, the cop's body cam, and there were a couple numbers missing. So I was like, red flag 1. But then the video goes on, and then I guess the cop in the video breaks the judge's taillight, and no cop is doing that. So that was red flag number 2. Then the judge comes out and goes, well, you messed with the wrong lady. Like she was Superman or some shit. She jumped out of the car in her judge's robe. And I'm like, Who the fuck is driving around in their robe like that? Judges hang their robes up in their chambers before they leave. So anyway, so I look into it, and apparently these two people do these kind of racial skits together to drum up. I think it's called hate content or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And that was it. So I went in the comment section, and people were believing this. So now you have people doing that. Now you have AI that's going to add to it. Yeah. Like Praxis was saying, this is just going to get bad, because either you're going to believe it or you're going to take the total opposite stance of, yeah, this is not real. Meanwhile, it could be, but how would we know?
Yeah.
What was the video name on your channel? It was what you said. I was on the Angry Truth channel for the AI one. I was trying to find it as we're going.
Yeah.
Does it remember when they said this or the?
It should be the first one. Believe. Be careful what you believe. No, sorry. I am terrible at remembering my own titles.
I just want to get it on my watch later one.
It's something's going to be worse. It's up in that regards.
Okay.
This is going to get way worse.
Cool.
How many channels do you have?
Way too many.
I didn't even know about this one. I subscribed though.
Well, I also have the fitness channel I'm bringing back by the end of the month. I had to drop some weight before I could turn that channel back on or start videoing that channel. Right? Shit, I'm doing worse. Yeah, and then the film channel, which I'm picking up again next month as well.
Yeah, let's do a quick around the table. Where can people find you all? I know I put the main links in the description, but if there's anything else before Cliff and Morgan have to go, if there's anything else you guys want to shout out that people might not know about, go ahead and do it. We can start with you, Cliff.
I just have the Urban Prepper handle on those things, and on on X and on Facebook, it's Got Preps. But for most other ones, it's always just the Urban Prepper.
Okay, Mike.
You can find me at Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival.com, Hudson Valley Prepping Survival on Instagram. I'm everywhere.
Facebook too? Yep.
Yes, sir.
Morgan?
Yeah, if you just search Rogue Preparedness, Facebook, Instagram, I'm everywhere as well. Just search Rogue Preparedness. I don't know. Can't remember.
And YouTube, yeah. Angry Prepper. So you got the only channel I knew about was the Angry Prepper, and I know you're on Instagram, but you've also got the Angry Truth. What are the other ones?
Angry Truth, Angry Prepper Fitness. I have an Angry Lensman, but that's just for that's more for like clients and shit like that. That's a photography business I run.
All right, Praxis.
I think I'm just Praxis homesteading and something. I don't know. If you put at Praxis Prepper Alien Invasion, I'm sure I'll come up.
Yep. Are you only on YouTube right now?
I kind of double cast stuff over to Rumble, which I don't know if I really fit in over there. I'm not angry enough, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I do all the alt tech sites too, like Rumble and Odyssey and those other ones too, just in case they take down the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Has the AI stuff changed the way that all of you thought about like how you produce your YouTube videos? Because it seems like the talking head style videos might be more easily automatable than some of the stuff when you're out and about at the homestead.
I've been seeing a lot of AI-driven preparedness lately. The shorts, especially. There's a whole entire AI prepping channel now.
Yeah.
Everything is scripted via AI and then put into another program that creates the stock footage video for everybody to watch. With the fancy AI voice, they give me a run for my money with that. So it's just trying to be unique at this point, because I think AI is going to crush a lot of this content real soon.
So much of it, yeah.
I think people are going to be craving the actual people, though. Like, even, I think people are really already anti-AI right now. I saw a video the other day that was completely produced by AI. I mean, it was really hard to watch and listen to, though. Like, you could instantly tell it was AI, and I was like, I can't do this. And I got 30 seconds into it, and I had to get out. And now, of course, it'll get more developed and stuff like that, but it already is. But like, people are already craving that real people, real content. They want to verify, you are a real person. These kinds of things. So I think it's more important than ever to show that. I mean, we've been here and people know, built up, the people, but the audience or whatever. But yeah. I don't know. I don't think people are going to stand for the AI created stuff fully.
If you think about the volume, though, AI can create 1,000 videos in the time it takes you or I to make one.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're just going to get lost in the sea. And, it's like food deserts, in the city where, plenty of people would love to eat real food, but if everything around you is not that, people end up consuming what's available, I think.
Well, here's a kick in the dick.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There's an AI program. I have a buddy that lives in the building I'm in, right? Well, his mother lives in the building. I see it from time to time. He told me about a program that will scan you, right? So, for example, I guess the positions we're sitting in right now, you scan your whole upper half of your body, and it'll make talking head video for you. As long as you prompt it correctly, you could almost get away with, like I said, pushing out probably hundreds of videos in a month. And just, obviously, the work you have to do is scheduling the video and stuff like that. But this thing does a video for you flawlessly. And obviously, you got to pay a few $1,000s to get it done. We are undoubtedly, not that we're going to be replaced by AI, but we're going to get drowned out by AI. And that's way more dangerous. Because, yes, like Morgan just said, realness, but there's a new generation coming up behind us. They just want information. They don't care where to get that information from or who. So that being said, yes, we will have our loyal fans, but when that new generation starts depending on AI, and then they have AI videos actually doing things like gardening, packing a bug out bag, learning how to use a knife or sharpen a knife. Once AI starts perfecting that, we're fucked. And then we get drowned out again. It is why I'm pivoting to photography. Even though I just saw the other day, and I almost put my fist in the fucking computer. They have AI generated headshots, so I could take any one of you guys' faces right now, put it in this program, and create a professional headshot for you, and it's almost flawless. So just give it another year or two and forget about it. So they're gonna start replacing photographers too. I think I'm gonna have to fucking start stripping or some shit.
I think they already replaced that job.
So you're saying there's going to be an Angry Prepper OnlyFans account?
Yeah. The angry stripper.
I like it. I've been using a blend, so typically you're gonna see me, but I'll also, like, if I'm talking about certain things, like I can't go and take a picture of a war zone, right? So I could maybe pull something off the internet, but then I'm risking somebody getting pissed off about copyright or whatever. So I use, like, if I'm talking about a war situation, I'll pull a picture. I'll have AI create a war picture for me, and I don't have to worry about the copyright piece of it. But you're still getting me as the narrator and me doing, the bulk of what you're going to see in the video. That's, I think, where maybe the sweet spot is for people, is like a blend of using the tools but not taking the humanity out of it. And I also have been working on, little by little, like I used to be like really OCD about editing out my mistakes, not on live streams, as you can't really do that, but on my regular videos, editing out all the that kind of crap. And I'm starting to let that slide in more because of that authenticity piece that you guys are talking about, of yeah, I'm a human and this is how a human talks. We say, and I do think people are going to crave that.
I hope so. I don't know. I mean, I just saw this comment by Becoming Dangerous that, more than half the views that they're watching is made by AI, and people are watching them. Somebody's watching them. Yeah.
Maybe the AI is watching each other's videos.
It could be something like that, like a program. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, we make our own theme music. You know what I mean? Like original theme music, and it's just finding ways to set yourself apart from the robots at this juncture, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that's where the solution is for us human content creators, or we're going to be looking for new
humans.
What kind of a prepper are you, Sarge? That is a very rosy way of looking at the situation.
Where's the doom and gloom?
Yeah.
Hey,
come on, angry prepper, bring it back to the doom.
I spend 8 hours a day teaching people how to positively reframe. Some of it rubs off on me. All right, let's see. Who didn't we get to yet? Let's go to Mike. What are you prepping your audience for?
Oh man. Let's see. Dollar collapse, basically. Economic times getting harder. Things costing more money. The ever-present danger of these small wars expanding into something much bigger. The borders over in Europe are so tight that a miscalculation and a missile lands in another country, and then there's a big problem. So I think we live in some really dangerous times right now, and uncertain for sure. So, just keep the basics, man. Keep your food, your water. I really try to stress to folks to have a no comms plan. Comms plans are great, but when nothing works and everybody's freaking out, do your family and friends know what to do and where to go?
Yeah. Does the family know if your home base gets compromised, where's everybody supposed to meet up?
Exactly.
What if that's compromised? Do you have a tertiary location?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pace planning, man. The pace planning is so important.
And everybody plans to bug in, right? Like I know we talk about bug out bags, but when you talk to people, they'll say, well, my plan is to bug in. You have to think about both, right? And it's not necessarily about going out to the woods. Maybe some people are going to do that if you're skilled enough and you're a good hunter and fisher and you know how to forage and all that stuff. Maybe you're going to be okay. But the majority of people, when you're bugging out, I try to encourage my audience to think about bugging out to a friend's house or a hotel or something like that. How would you plan for that as opposed to I'm going to go live Red Dawn in the woods,
Exactly. Anybody with a family, man, you really need to move 4 walls and a roof to 4 walls and a roof, station to station. You need that protection. And if you live in a climate like I do where, half the year it's below freezing, if you're outside, there's a good chance somebody's going to get hypothermic. So 4 walls and a roof to heated 4 walls and a roof.
All right, I want to come back to that crack shot because I'd like to go down that rabbit hole just a little bit. I agree with you in a way. Praxis, what are you preparing your audience for? Chickens?
Well,
chicken apocalypse?
Yeah, they have their own apocalypse that they're planning for us, I'm sure. Well, it's my view that all the foundational pillars that have created this wonderful, comfortable society that we live in right now, inexpensive energy, having the reserve currency here in the West, the environmental inheritance that we got from the past in terms of the arable soils and all of it, really, all the foundational pillars that have created everything that we have are coming to an end. And I think that is not really much of a matter of opinion so much as pretty measurable. And I think that's what people have to get ready for, is essentially the rug being pulled out from everything that we've created. And that's a really big problem to solve, to hit kind of everything at once. But that's my perspective on things. There's a lot of people out there that will suggest that technology is going to swoop in and take care of this, that, or the other thing. And that's not a 0% chance that that's going to happen. And it's happened a couple of times in the past. But historically, if you look back, into deep history, whenever a civilization has depended upon certain pillars, when those pillars came to an end, it's very rare or non-existent the civilization that ever survived that. And I think that's where we are now. And, that's what I'm suggesting. People need to make their mindset. Because I think if you can anticipate it, you can at least put yourself in some sort of a situation where you can survive it. Because I don't think that we're headed for something that is going to end all of human life on the planet. But I think we're going to go through a bottleneck. And the people that have the foresight to be ready for that bottleneck are going to be in a better position than people who get blindsided by it. It's a very vague answer.
No, I think within 50 years, 100 years, I don't know how long, the United States is going to look very, very different.
Yeah, how could it not?
And I don't mean different in a good way, like, robots are taking care of us.
Yeah.
Well, I know that the United States is having a major problem right now. At the very least, it's being calculated. We're going to have a major problem with the birth rate issue. We're having a problem with it now, as it is.
A lot of countries are, yeah.
Right, with the exception of Muslim countries and Jews. Though Hasidic Jews are having a problem, at least here in New York, with the hell's that called? They're having retarded kids because they're keeping their pool so small.
Oh.
The Amish are seeing that problem as well. But their birth rate was pretty high until they started seeing that problem. But the human race, or at least the American people, we're seeing that problem, and it's only going to get worse. Right now, they're expecting, for example, Europe is already overrun by a certain group of people. And the birth rate here in the United States being starting to drop, or has been dropping for a while now, is going to get worse because the dating pool is horrendous, and people can't find a match. I mean, hell, I was in the dating pool for a little bit, and I was like, yo, fuck this. I'd rather be single than deal with the psych patients that are out there. And I'm talking about women, no offense, Morgan, but a lot of the shit out there that I'm seeing is like fucking out of control. So now you got men being browbeat, beat up by women left and right. You got guys who are not manly enough, and women, for some reason, especially the ugly ones, they want like top tier dudes. And I'm like, how do you want a top tier dude when you're a low tier, ugly, sloth looking shit from the Goonies? I don't understand it. But this is the boat we're in. And so the birth rate is only going to drop also because of technology. Technology is adding to the drop in the birth rate.
In addition to some of those social things you referenced, there's also economic and even medical issues that are going around right now that are keying into birth rate. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think that the economic portion is an excuse. Look at the Great Depression. Though, yes, the birth rate...
No, you're right. Yeah.
That's huge.
The birth rate did drop during the Depression, but not... Well, it sort of dropped amongst the rich, if you will. But amongst the poor, it was still skyrocketing because there was not much to do. Not skyrocketing, but it stayed average, excuse me. But it was still there, and people made do when they had kids.
You're right. I should correct myself. It's the people's perspective, people's sense of the economy. Yeah.
Right. And that's a lot. Listen, there's a couple guys in the firehouse, at least one guy, asking him why he don't want to have kids, and he's like, oh, why would I drag him into this world? I'm like, what fucking world do you think we live in? There are people in Africa right now, in war-torn countries, still having kids, and your excuse in America is because why would you bring them into this world? It's such a cop-out. It's a lazy excuse, and I think it's a selfish excuse, if you ask me.
I got that when I had my firstborn. And why would you bring a child into this world? Why does anybody bring a child into the world that they are in? I don't know. I mean, is it going to get better? Is it going to get worse? I mean, geez, let's just stop humanity.
Yeah, humanity's endured much worse time periods than this.
Yes.
But let me pause us for a second. I'm going to continue this. I want to say thank you to both Cliff and Morgan. They need to run out for some family stuff. Really appreciate you two joining us tonight. And you all, if you're watching this, make sure if you're not already subscribed, please go check out their channels. That's the Urban Prepper and Road Preparedness. They've both been friends with my channel for a while now, and I appreciate all the support they've given me. Actually, Morgan was one of the first people to kind of befriend me and help me out when I was just getting started as a wee bitty prepper. So, appreciate you both.
Thanks for having me on. It's just starting to get juicy now too.
I
So I'm
know.
gonna have
Well, you're welcome to
dial
stay,
in while
but
I'm
then
driving.
you're gonna have to answer to mom.
We're talking about ugly people breeding and stuff. That's great. Yeah, thank you so much for having it. And I'll go do some family stuff too. So I hope everyone has a good weekend.
Yes.
Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
night,
Thanks for
guys.
having me. Appreciate it.
Stay safe, guys.
Thank
Good
you
night,
both.
guys.
All right. So my question here would be how do we get people to start having children again, right? Like, so how do you motivate people to do this if people are, we could say, okay, it's not an economy issue. The world's been in worse positions before, which it has. But how do you get them to start having sex again, basically?
Well, New York State just started throwing money at people.
Oh, that'll work.
Yeah, they're doing a baby bonus here. I think the federal government is trying to do the same thing. But I think the collapse happened when the family unit started to collapse, right? It like really heavily in the 80s and early 90s. The family unit collapsed, and single family homes, nobody wants to have more kids because you're already strapped and you're already, struggling with what you have on your plate. And I think if that family structure could return where you had multiple people in the household to help out, I think it might benefit us.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, he's probably right. I mean, though I'm a big fan of, and I wish I would have done it right the first time, had the mothers stay home with the kids and just struggle a little more, knowing that they were getting raised properly and not dependent on, a neighbor or something to take care of kids. Now, we lucked out without babysitters. With actually, all my kids, I lucked out with the babysitters. They were really good. They were old school. But this new shit that I'm seeing now, you don't want to take your kids, you don't want to put your kids in anybody else's care. You just never know. I mean, look at the incident that happened, what was that, 3 years ago now in the Bronx? The kid that was in a daycare and the fucking kid found fentanyl, right? And the kid wound up overdosing, right? And I mean, I don't know if this kid was bathing in the shit, but fentanyl only takes about so much. Right. And it killed the kid on the site. So now you're a parent, you drop your kid off thinking your kid's safe, and they're running a fentanyl ring in the back of the house, right? So, and we're seeing more and more of that, at least here in the city. Now, it's not like, exponentially high, but there have been a few more cases of illegal activities run in the household with a daycare.
That's something I definitely agree with. I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I try to do the best I can working from home. And we do homeschool with my boy, and just the difference that you can see in the kids that have that exposure to home and the family, and to not have to conform to society's current version of the way that they're supposed to be. But my boy will still like sing to himself, and he'll still skip around. He's like just turned 13 recently, and he still has that kind of youthful energy that like so many kids today, it just gets like beat out of them, with the public school system and peer pressure and social media and all of that. So yeah, I definitely agree with you about that, about the family.
Yeah, I think it's just the way to go. I mean, like you just said, we're witnessing a lot of nonsense. I think social media is also adding to the destruction of kids and their confidence and everything else that goes along with being a kid. They're kids out there, they're watching these rap videos, so they want to be thugs. You have these little girls looking at a lot of these models who have OnlyFans, and then that's their life goal, to be an OnlyFans model because of the money they're making. And the problem is, I noticed a lot in the last 2 years, 3 years maybe, a lot of these channels are pushing these models because they're making money. And I forgot this I don't follow her, but one of the guys brought her to my attention, and he was like, you know how much she's making? Some OnlyFans model, average looking chick, cute, but average, 49 million a year for OnlyFans. So now you're telling kids that, and all these kids out there thinking they could do the same shit, right? And you really can't. It's not for everyone. And and listen, I also seen some OnlyFans models that look like nightmares, and for some reason, they're still making a lot of money. So they're giving these kids this hope of an easy way to, or an easier way, excuse me, to make money instead of just working for it the way you're supposed to.
On X or Twitter, I think it was last week, somebody had posted some OnlyFans model and she's in a private plane, and it says, appreciate my private plane paid for by my $10 million 10 million customers or whatever. And I'm looking at her, and like, she's not super attractive. She's average looking, right? Like, just average looking. Probably not the type of girl I would have been interested in anyways. So I'm like trying to understand. And then I thought about it for a second, and people were getting like really fired up in the comments, like, this is BS, you know, like, I'm a teacher, I'm a police officer, and like, you know what I mean? And I get it. But then I was looking at it and I'm like, wait a minute. That's not her private plane. Like, this is, you know, people will rent these things just like you can rent a Ferrari, right? And you can pose in front of it and put out this like image of that you're leading this glamorous lifestyle. And that's also contributing to this problem where people have these expectations like, oh, I'll go be, even in YouTube, right? Like, you see this if you talk to other smaller YouTubers, like, they think you're going to make a ton of money. You don't, right? Like, even Cliff, you know, with 250,000 followers, you know, he's working another job, guys, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, right. And I was, when he said that, when I heard that earlier, I was a little surprised. I thought he was like, you know, but yeah, listen, you're right. The expectation is what a lot of kids don't understand. You know, I mean, my son went through a small stint about trying to be a gamer. And I told him the stats. I'm like, yo, you're up against, first of all, millions of kids trying to do the same thing. He wanted to do, what was that stupid game? Minecraft. He wanted to do that nonsense. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. You know, you can come up with a new idea on YouTube or a video, fine. If you want to be innovative and create something or invent something, absolutely. But to sit there and try to jump on a coattail or some shit that you got to battle millions of people on, like, I do this prepping shit. I think most of us do this prepping shit to spread knowledge and advice and give the heads up on certain things. If we make money on this, it's a bonus, right? And I'm trying to step away on becoming reliant on this money. Like, you know, unfortunately, you become reliant on the money no matter who you are, because, you know, you get to go do fun shit. But I'm trying to step back from that because apparently, like we just spoke about a few minutes ago, this shit ain't forever, man. Something's going to take us out. AI is going to take us out, or YouTube's going to completely buckle. One of the two. YouTube's having a hard time right now behind the scenes from the rumors I'm hearing. So who knows, man? You know, we could wake up tomorrow and there goes YouTube.
Well, and I bet you the people at YouTube are praying that a permanent ban on TikTok goes into effect, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So
yeah, I was hoping for the ban on TikTok, because the ban on TikTok will boost a lot more revenue for YouTube. And secondly, TikTok is just stupid. You know, but again, that's my opinion. But listen, you know,
I'm not a fan, but
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say my biggest problem with TikTok, I don't have a problem with it. Like, people are into like a 50-second or 30-second reel or whatever. That's the attention span for a lot of people now. That's why I started pumping out more shorts and stuff. My problem with TikTok is that if I do something stupid here on YouTube, right, like, or even if they perceived something stupid, right, like Mike was victim to this recently, and then my mental health live stream, they thought I was about to do something stupid, so they killed it just in case. That doesn't happen on TikTok. You can go on TikTok and people are promoting, like, for these little boys, like, hey, jump off, you know, this 10-story building, right? And eat this Tide Pod, drink bleach, you know, and like and kids are doing this crap, and TikTok's they don't care that they're promoting this to kids. In fact, they're boosting this content. That's my problem with TikTok.
Well, and so I was doing it for myself. The other side of that coin is the algorithm you create for yourself, right? So we all have our like own algorithm on our accounts, right? I started switching all of my algorithms, especially on my photography shit, to photography gear, cameras, lighting, the whole 9 yards. You know, but every now and again, some chick with, you know, big knockers is popping up, and I try to ignore it for the most part. And then sometimes you go into the video, and then you got to press not interested. right? And that's how you start building up your algorithm. And then you start researching whatever it is you're into, right? And start researching that, and you'll see more of that on your algorithm. Unfortunately, if you have kids that have Instagram or even TikTok, you have to build an algorithm for them to follow, and try to get them outside of the, the chick with her breasts popping out of her turtleneck, or, what was this chick doing? She's playing golf, and she was like, look at my backswing, or whatever the fucking swing you golfers do. And she had this tight shirt on that you can see straight through. And a dress that was like, if she sneezed, you were going to see something. So, and I happened to look at her following, and it was astronomically high. And she gives golfing tips, right? So now you're a golfer and you run into that, you got that shit starting to leak back into your algorithm. So you just got to be careful with your kids and yourself on how you build your algorithm.
That's really good advice, actually. And parents definitely need to be involved. And remember this for parents, and this is the same advice I give to my parents that are coming in for mental health therapy, is that's your phone. That's not their phone. That's your phone. You're paying for it. You're paying for the subscription service. You have a right to take that phone at any minute and see anything that's in there. And in fact, you're responsible if they do something like look up instructions on how to make a boom, or download the wrong kind of pornography that will get you a knock on the door. You're responsible for that as the parent.
Right. And then and the government doesn't want to, or the cops don't want to hear, well, that was his phone. How was I supposed to know? The privacy issue with kids is out of control. Kids are like, this is my phone. I'm like, I will smash your phone in a million fucking pieces. I was like, if I'm still paying for the service, it's mine. Until you pay for your own service, and I mean start your own line and service, you do what you want. But if you're looking for us to pay for it, guess what you're doing with your phone every week? Unfortunately, my daughter, you can look through her phone once a week and be fine. My son, you got to look through his phone every 3 goddamn days because he's a boy. And boys are a little more sneaky than girls. But again, you stay on top of it, they should be fine.
It's really good advice.
Yeah, mine doesn't even have a phone. I've got him so hyped up. I've always worked in media and advertising, and I've got him so media aware that my boy's always announcing to me every time any kind of device is trying to market at him or get his personal information or whatever. I do let him play some VR games. He has a VR headset, and he'll use that occasionally. And he's always bemoaning how this, I guess, called like the metaverse or something like that, is constantly trying to get his personal information and everything. So I think, I know you can never protect your kids from it forever. So it's always been my approach to try to give my boy armor against a lot of this stuff and have him see the manipulation and understand that it's manipulation, as it approaches him.
Most kids that, and this is, again, I work with mostly first responders in my job. Most kids that are getting involved with like missing kids things, if it's not like a divorced parent that took the kid, because that happens a lot, it's basically somebody that they met on the internet. And it's when they ask the kids, when they recover them, and they ask the kids, they were like, oh, I thought he was my age. It turns out it's this like 40-year-old creep.
Yeah.
Do you think that instant gratification society has a lot to do with this? Folks just can't wait for results anymore. I mean, we sit and tap our toe waiting for the 60 seconds on the microwave to beep, right? And open the door with a second left because, it's almost there. I think it's got to play into it some way or another, man.
No, big time. Absolutely.
For sure. The whistleblowers coming out of the tech industry have said basically everything the entire design of it is designed to give you dopamine fast and to keep you coming back for more dopamine, right? So for those who don't know, dopamine is like one of your feel-good neurotransmitters in your brain. So think about this. So I'm Gen X. Angry Prepper, are you Gen X or are you millennial?
Gen X.
Gen X. Mike? Gen X. Praxis, Gen X?
I think I'm right between the two.
Okay. So now, growing up, we all grew up in a time before all this technology was available, right?
Yep.
What, when you had entertainment, what did you have? Like a favorite show on television, right?
Exactly.
Okay. How often did that thing come on TV?
Once a week.
Once a week. If you wanted to watch it, what did you have to do?
You had to be there, man.
You had to do what else?
Wait.
What would you had to wait.
Yeah, and tune in.
and your parents probably told you had to do your chores and be respectful, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
you see where I'm going with this? So we grew up in a time, and I'm not trying to bash on Gen Z. There's a lot of things I actually like about Gen Z. I've talked about that before. But we grew up in a time where you had to work for that dopamine, okay? Dopamine is on tap now. It is pure bliss at your fingertips whenever you want. You like cat videos, you get as many cat videos as the internet can feed you in 10 seconds. You like porn, you can find whatever kind of crazy porn you want to look for. It's out there, right? So they gave you this thing that was the most addictive thing that we've ever seen in the history of humanity. And no, people don't want to wait for it. Why do you think kids are having meltdowns when the parents say, put your phone away, it's time for dinner?
Yep.
You're offering them, a hamburger and broccoli, and the internet's offering them cat videos and porn. Which one do you think they want? Right?
Yeah, they definitely
That's
like the cat videos and the porn, and that's the I think the listen, like when we were growing up, porn was like you had to sneak out and get it, or you had to sneak out and find the collection in your home, whatever it was. But you had to play Indiana Jones to fucking go find porn. Now kids just flip their phone on and boom, there it is. And that's I mean, I think before when we were kids with porn was like again, sneaking around and dive rolling to go get it. Kids now they're looking at it and then they're sharing it with one another. And I think the worst part for kids now is that they have phones and now they're recording their sex sessions with the girl that they're dating at the time, and then putting that shit all over the internet. And that's the worst part about it.
And it's permanent and it's a felony.
Oh yeah, big time. But the kids don't give a shit. That's the problem. Until you start making kids sex offenders, and that's the only, and I hate to say that's the only way they're going to learn.
They're just like with Napster, right? Like when we had Napster.
Yes.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Unfortunately, it was awesome. I loved Napster, but unfortunately, to stop it, how did they stop it? They made an example of a couple of young people, and they just ruined their lives, basically.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that would suck, the whole life ruining part. But nonetheless, something has to happen if you're blasting, videos of you, getting with a girl who's your age, 14, 15 years old. And then never mind some of the other videos. I was talking to this guy who's like into the whole child sex retrieving shit. And he was talking about, he goes, the videos that are out there, he goes, unfortunately, they're from other teenage boys that circulate on the internet and stay on, like you said, stay on the internet forever. And they stay circulating because people will save it, it'll get deleted, and then they'll repost it somewhere else, and then it's circulating in that realm. And I'm like, this is why, like my last kid, man, he's 10. He's not getting a phone till he's like 25.
Yeah, it's a tough issue, and I think kind of what Praxis was saying before. If I don't have kids now, I've got a stepdaughter. She's an adult, but if I had kids, I would be trying to limit as much as I can, especially until they get a little bit older, as much as I can, like only under supervised circumstances. But I also understand like how tired parents are too. I get it. Like that, mommy needs 15 minutes, daddy needs 15 minutes. Can you play Minecraft on your phone? Except maybe they're not playing Minecraft on their phone. They're doing something else.
Right.
But I also wouldn't want my kids to grow up like completely void of technology, because they're going to be at a disadvantage in the world that they're growing up in if they don't understand
know how to use it. Yeah.
All right, let me jump to, if you guys got time, you want to jump down one more rabbit hole?
Yeah.
I got 5 minutes left. So
yeah, you got to stream. All right, yeah, let's go ahead. That's right. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up then, because I forgot. Angry Prepper is going live next, guys. So anyone who's in chat, if you want to hang around for some more prepping talk, head on over to his stream here. Let me close us out with a couple quick things. I want to say, first of all, thank you guys for joining tonight. Really appreciate it. We got down a pretty good, interesting rabbit hole there. It would have been interesting to see where that was going to take us. You guys want to come back anytime, you let me know. We'll set it up.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. And
we work some good keywords into your stream here for you.
It can be interesting, right? It can be interesting. And audience, please make sure you check out in the description. I've got the links to their channels for everybody. please enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Remember, it is a solemn holiday, so please don't go around wishing somebody a happy Memorial Day. It's not supposed to be a happy Memorial Day. It's a solemn holiday, but enjoy it. Enjoy your family, the extra day off that you got from work if you got that, and everybody that's lost somebody to a war would want you to have more family time. So make good use of it. Okay. All right, guys, let's go ahead and close this one out then so Angry can go get his stream started. Y'all have a great weekend. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. This is Praxis, Hudson Valley Prepping Survival, Angry Prepper, and Sarge. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care,
Thank you, man.
guys.
Appreciate it.
See you around.
Appreciate you.